Welcome to the slightly delayed week 23 of 52 Circles, and our prompt this week is draw. So I'm starting with my calico circle and some scraps of sari silk and painted calico, which I'm going to use as a painterly base for this week. I'm using a sketch that I made recently of a cactus plant just as some inspiration for marks, and I've lowered the teeth on my machine so that I can use my freehand embroidery foot and just use the stitching lines as drawn lines, so moving my fabric underneath the needle to create those different marks and effects. I decided my first layer was pretty boring, so I wanted to infill with a second colour. So after snipping the joining threads between the different sections of my drawing, I've changed to a complementary colour in a pale blue, and I'm using that to just go backwards and forwards to fill in some of the spaces around my drawn lines. So a bit like you would if you were using a pencil or some charcoal to kind of fill in gaps, fill in the negative spaces on a drawn piece of work. You could do this without a freehand machine foot. You can use it just with straight stitch on your machine and carefully kind of turning around the curves. It just makes it a little bit quicker if you can drop the teeth underneath your presser foot. So just working as if I was working in my sketchbook, really, looking for spaces that need a little bit more texture or detail, or where I want to push sections back. And then finally, I decided I needed some bold lines. So I've got some embroidery threads, which I'm just going to use as a drawn line. And this time I'm changing the stitch on my machine to a zigzag, but still using the embroidery foot so I can go backwards and forwards and build up a really slubby line with this orange thread. And picking some shapes out of my drawing and just adding a kind of a thicker outline to some of the areas that I want to create a bit of definition. So I'm not slavishly following the drawing, I'm kind of letting it take on a life of its own. And I quite like the kind of layered effect of different fabrics, different silks, different lines, different marks, and the overall effect that gives me. So despite feeling quite despondent about my initial sample, I'm quite pleased with the finished result. So here's my sample, and I look forward to seeing yours. Don't forget to share with the hashtag 52Circles, and I'll see you later on this week. Bye.